What we need to do is have an international coalition. We have got to undo what Trump did.
Reestablish our alliances and insist that Iran go back into the agreement.
We should definitely be doing it in coalition with other countries. We've got to work with our partners.
I would start negotiations again.
The 2020 Democrats slamming the president's America First approach to Iran as they push to salvage what's left, if anything, of Iran's abandoned nuclear deal.
But could any of their strategies actually work? Joining us live is Vice President for Foreign Policy at the Heritage Foundation, James Carafano. James, did you hear anything on stage last night that you think that's what's going to work?
Yeah, I mean, Claire, I do policy, not politics. But look, I got to admit, there were really stale talking points last night. They said, well, we have to work with allies, forgetting that Trump spent many, many months working with allies trying to approve the Iran deal. They forget Iran got worse after it signed a deal. And the really kind of the unbelievable thing is yesterday, Germany, France, and the United Kingdom, who are all partners to the deal, came out and said Iran is violating the deal. In a sense, they were arguing against themselves.
Yeah. I mean, just to give people a reminder here of what that deal looked like, it had restrictions, but those restrictions did expire. Between 10 and 15 years from now. It didn't close any of the facilities Iran had. There were no restrictions on ballistic missile tests, and it didn't do anything to stop them from funding all of these proxy militias that are spreading terror throughout the Middle East. As a policy, to hear these Democrats, specifically Biden, go back and want to go back to that deal and basically pay Iran more money to not build a nuclear weapon and try and destroy the world. I mean, what kind of a position is that to be negotiating from?
Well, I mean, what wasn't talked about last night is the fact, the irrefutable fact that Iran's behavior actually got worse after they signed the deal. The other thing is, look, the deal is almost expired. It's virtually done. So going back to a deal that's essentially over, I mean, that's not even logical.
Yeah. And James, I guess if you stay status quo, for years to come, nothing's going to change then. I mean, the president is trying to make changes at this point right now. And from what we've heard, no one else really feels that they need to do that at this point.
Yeah. Well, look, what's really, really interesting, if you sat back and just dispassionately listened to that, essentially they were arguing for many of the president's foreign policy decisions, right? We should get Iran back to the table to negotiate a better deal. That is Trump's policy. We shouldn't fight endless wars. That is President Trump's policy. We should try to use diplomacy and not in the military. Trump's policy. We should work with allies. Trump's policies. It was really hard to decide, other than hating Trump, how they were offering different solutions from what the president's really already trying.
Sure. Let's talk about troop withdrawal in the Middle East, and let's listen to Elizabeth Warren.
We need to get our combat troops out. They are not helping create more safety for the United States or the region. We need to work with our allies. We need to use our economic tools. We need to use our diplomatic tools.
Now, she's not alone in this principle. I mean, even Republicans like Rand Paul want to get out of the Middle East. But what about the vacuum that creates? They talk about how ISIS was created.
Well, yeah, of course, the irony there is President Obama tried that. We tried to withdraw all our troops from Iraq, from the region, and the result of that is ISIS exploded, and then this president had to go back in to put troops in to defeat ISIS, and then he gets criticized for putting troops in. The other thing is there's an enormous irony here is we have to withdraw our troops and work with allies. Every ally in the Middle East, every single one, every friend and ally wants American troops there. All our European allies want U.S. troops in Europe. All our Asian allies want U.S. troops in Asia. So the notion of working with allies and pulling all our forces back and doing nothing, those are absolutely contradictory statements coming out of the same people making the same policy proposal.
James Carafano, as always, good to see you. Thank you for joining us.
Thanks.